And we're back in Mexico for the Verizon post-game interview, and I am joined by the victorious Fiora from the RX. 안녕하세요. Thank you for joining me. Quick take on the early game because things didn't go so well for you. What could you have done better?
이제 짧게 우선은 초반에 대해서 여쭤볼게요. 사실 잘 안 풀렸잖아요. 어떤 부분이 잘 안 됐다고 생각하세요?
이제 제가 아랫바이게 먹고 이제 그냥 위쪽 올라갔으면 됐는데 너무 긴장해서 그런 건지 몰라도 저희 칼부랑 레드 털린 걸 알고 있었는데 그쪽으로 다시 가서 그때 좀 많이 망한 것 같습니다.
So, I mean, after I took the bottom herald, I should have just rotated towards top. I had the information that they already took my raptor and also red buff, but I went back inside, so like things started to going really bad there.
All right, well, misplay then, but maybe you were surprised by the Belveth from Lillia today. It's not a champion that we've seen so far at the World Championship. Do you think we're going to see it more often, and how well does it fit to the meta right now?
그리고 오늘 굉장히 놀랄만한 픽이 등장했잖아요, 벨베스. 엘리어 선수 벨베스가 나와서 좀 좋은 활약을 보여주기도 했는데 지금 메타상 벨베스가 어떤 것 같은지 앞으로 더 등장할 것 같나요?
이제 벨베스 챔프가 그래도 이미지랑 다르게 되게 다재다능한 챔프인데 앞으로도 잘 쓰면은 계속 나올 만하다고 생각을 합니다.
So unlike what people think of Velbeth, I think it is actually really versatile. She can do a lot of work, so I think it's pretty viable in the future too.
Interesting. Looking forward to seeing if we can see it more often then in the future. Anything you have to say about your mid laner? He's been performing so well so far at Worlds, and to me, this game, it wasn't different.
이제 제카 선수에 대해서 하시고 싶은 말씀이 있으신지 지금 월드 와서 너무 눈부신 활약을 보여주고 계십니다. 혹시 뭐 어떤 생각 갖고 계신가요?
일단 오늘 막판을 진짜 너무 큰 치명적인 실수를 해서 많이 말리고 시작했는데도 건우가 이제 할 수 있다고 잘 팀원들을 이끌어 나가가지고 너무 그냥 캐리한 게 너무 고마운 것 같아요.
So I mean, this game, you know, it started off so awfully for us, you know, but he was the one actually leading us. He was like, we got this, we can do this, and then he actually carried the game. So I just want to say thank you.
And that's super impressive. Again, given how young he is, you guys are 5-0 now in the playing stage. But would you say that you played to the expectations?
이제 플레인 스테이지는 오전 전승을 기록했는데요. 경기력을 놓고 봤을 때는 기대한 만큼 보여줬다고 생각하시나요?
일단 개인적으로 뭔가 스크림에서 한 만큼 잘 안 나와가지고 아쉽긴 한데 그래도 전승해서 다행인 것 같아요.
Well, I personally am a little bit bummed because my performance was not up to the scrim level, but still, I'm really relieved that we are undefeated.
It is ramping up for sure. Last question. I've been watching all your games, but what I'm looking forward to the most usually is what happens after the game. The champion impressions you've been doing in the LCK. Is there any chance that we can see some of them at Worlds?
이제 항상 LCK 경기, 표식 선수 경기를 챙겨보고 있는데 가장 기대되는 점은 언제나 경기 끝나고 승리하셨을 때 성대모사를 하는 식으로 세레모니 하시는 부분이 있잖아요.
네.
혹시 이번 월즈에서도 혹시 볼 수 있을까요?
일단 아무래도 중요한 무대다 보니까 좀 높은 곳에 바라보면은 충분히 나올 만하다고 생각합니다. 아직은 플레이인이라 아끼고 있습니다.
So right now it's only playing, so I'm just kind of saving up because, you know, it's a really important kind of event for us, but maybe in the bigger stage I will.
Step by step, I'll keep an eye out on that. For now, interview 감사합니다, Fiora. Thank you so much, Jisun, for the translation. And back to you guys in LA.
Hey everyone, I am here to update the stakes before we get into RNG versus Saigon Buffalo. DRX now up to 5. Great job, guys, very happy. Mad Lions unfortunately couldn't close it out, now on 3-2. So we have two scenarios remaining. Either, as expected, RNG will take the win here, which will put them to 4-1. In which case, no tiebreakers, besides the one already decided from group number A, or Saigon Buffalo actually get the win, and in that scenario, we will have RNG on 3-2 instead. Same for Saigon, and then we go, if I remember correctly, up to 10 games. So a lot more gameplay if we get
10
upset
extra
here.
games,
I get it.
No, in total.
Oh, okay, but you gotta clarify that. So it'll be
Well,
two
I'm
extra
sorry.
tiebreakers.
Sorry?
It scared me.
Sorry. Come join us really quickly because we do have one more game to
This
set
transforms
up.
into a Canadian.
Ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else, welcome back to Worlds 2022 and the final regularly scheduled game of the play-in group stage between RNG and the Buffaloes. As you will notice, the analyst desk
You're
has
not
received
Dash.
an upgrade as I kicked Dash off to take over his seat for the last couple of games. Now, I want to rush into this next matchup. As Chronicler so correctly pointed out, we have 2 tiebreaker games from Group A. Depending on the result here, we'll have 0 or 2 additional games after this one completes. I want to start with the bot lane matchup as we look at Gala versus Shogun. The best ADs in the group. I think that's a fair statement to make.
Right after Death, apparently, especially after the last game, but definitely gunning for him. Gala and Shogun have just been really incredible so far. The Aphelios play from Shogun has been exceptional. The pentakill that he was able to get, the laning phase that he had actually has been, for me, jaw-dropping because I expected him to perform well. I didn't expect him to perform this well that they can back him. And then there's Gala, who has been sensational after the first loss to DRX.
And I also think this is the best and possibly the only window of entry. We have already seen that Shogun and Taki can stand with the best. Their MSI start was nothing short but incredible. And they're going to need to do the same thing against Gala and Ming if they want to have a shot.
Chronicler, we've got less than a minute to go. Obviously, RNG are the heavy favorites here, but what do Saigon Buffalo need to do in order to win this game?
Yeah, crush bot lane and create as much chaos. We're always going to go back to this, but a team with a mid game as consistent as RNG, if you don't have a colossal lead going in, which good luck with that one, I don't think you ever close it out.
And you have to recognize if you're Saigon Buffalo, everyone has to be in on the same play because hey, RNG has made a name for themselves playing to bot lane religiously. They'll have Xiaohu who's a part of the play. They'll oftentimes look for a 4-man play towards the bot side of the map if given the chance. So, hey, this is the opportunity for Saigon Buffaloes to put all the resources into the Shogun bucket.
All the resources in the Shogun bucket. Will it work out and give us those 2 additional tiebreaker games? We're about to find out. Freak, chat, take it away.
Thank you very much, and welcome to what could be the final game of Group B here. Royal Never Give Up versus Saigon Buffalo. If RNG win, they guarantee the 2nd seed out of the group, which means they'll await all the shenanigans of Group A and play best of 5 in a couple of days' time. Also, it means Saigon Buffalo will be simply battling Mad Lions in a best of 5 for the other honor. That'll be a tomorrow match. Or, Saigon Buffalo wins, 3-way tie for 2-3-4. We play that all out.
What would you rather have?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
because like sometimes the answer's like, ooh, always more games, it's more entertainment. But there's also a level of like wanting to see RNG continue to dominate teams that they should be dominating.
yeah, it's like I want to see good teams do well. For my pick'ems, I have a bunch of RNG members and everything because it's like, oh, they're all going to play play-ins. They're going to play. So actually, in terms of like, I want Gala to like get 18 kills and like have 0 deaths, but then they lose the game. Then they get more games. They'll get 3rd, so then they can like play more best of 5s. The Gala can get more kills.
Oh,
and
sure.
That's how my pick'ems go. So you know, I want them to drop a little bit. You know, that's how I'm gonna answer that one just for the crystal ball points.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I believe exactly the same thing for EG. They didn't get a whole season with Cowrie, so they're just maximizing the amount of stage games they can get to eventually win Worlds.
That's good.
Yeah, much like RNG, same strategy.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, really, the favorite here is SGB.
I think it, really should be. They're going to go for the 3-2 3-way tie. Either way, every single team who is in contention at this point is playing either tomorrow or the next day, sometimes both, because top 4 gets to at least play for that sort of play-in best of 5 situation. Of course, we are into the draft. Callista blue side ban worth noting, not a big Gala champion. First pick Sylas, very big deal, and BeanJ in a battle to get 2nd seed out of the group to force a tiebreaker for that, locks in Lee Sin.
Ooh, so already going for something early game. I think we're expecting a very up-tempo game. For what it's worth, I think RNG is huge favorites in this game. The analyst does as well. And they have been on an absolute tear ever since losing their debut game at Worlds where they lost to DRX. But also the way teams have been trying to play against RNG, to me, has been like very helter-skelter. They're just taking these unimaginably large early game risks because it just feels like that's the only way they have a chance. I think teams have actually been trying a little too hard to beat them early game and giving themselves no chances. So I hope Saigon Buffalo at least has a standard game plan going in. But I gotta say, that's a pretty ego draft so far from RNG.
That is Fiora without even seeing Aatrox, how it's even banned in the first place. So yeah, ego draft for sure. I will say this is Wei's comfort. This now makes it tied for his most played champion since MSI, so summer throughout Worlds. I would play it. Froggy hovering the Zac he played earlier on in play-ins. Does know he's against Sylas. I don't know how good stealing a Zach over Sylas is. And
Do it.
that's going to be locked in. So the second Zach mid game with Lee Sin jungle and Aphelios into the bot lane for Shogun.
Dude, I love seeing Zach mid.
Yeah.
Also, as a preview for the rest of the tournament, Caps has like 30 games of Zach mid
Nice.
as well on his solo queue account. So it's not going to be, I don't think this is the last we're going to see of Zach mid. I do think it's an acquired taste. You basically lose lane a lot, but your gank setup is really good, and then your team fighting is just really dynamic, as any Zach is. Like, you just have to bridge the early game, and his mid-late is super bonkers strong.
Yeah.
It's also had one of the highest mid-lane win rates for, like, close to 3 years. It's just so, let's say, difficult to persuade a mid laner to put a bunch of games on a Zach mid. But now that it's been on the world stage, maybe this is the outbreak.
If you beat Xiaohu, everyone's like, all right, we're loading it up.
Yeah.
Because do you remember post-Worlds 2017, I think, when MF Ashe came out from Rocks Tigers? And it's just like, every solo game was MF support for like 6 months straight. And it finally fell off, but like every game is like, this is a counter to Zyra? No, every game MF support. And it had like a 30% win rate because it was a counter pick only. So Zach mid comes through if it wins here.
All right, let's catch up a little bit on the draft.
Yeah.
Lots of bot lane bans coming out from Saigon Buffalo. Xayah Kai'Sa really trying to attack Gala's champion pool, but they've also left up Tristana. Tristana's not good into Aphelios, but is likely the third best champion for Gala, so he could just do it anyway.
Yep. Hovering around a bunch of different AD carries, but I think it does make sense for Trist here.
Ashe's better matchup.
Yeah, a little bit more afraid against Leona. No natural escapes to burn cleanse get away, and between those cooldowns it gets tough because, I mean, Zach can follow up, Felix can counter up, Tristana is the lock. I also like Trist for comp reasons. Good into Zach. If he's eating over the wall,
Fair.
if he's in fog, you can't ult in time, but like, you can still get the ult at some point and knock him out of his own ultimate, and he's just like bouncing around out of range, whatever. Ming on Rel makes a lot of sense. Nautilus is another big one that he plays, but engage tank definitely a likely option for him. And we're waiting for the very end to see what the counter to Fiora is. Now, Zach, I want to point out, is actually a good top laner as well. Shen's support coming through as extra defense. So the top is solid, actually has decent damage overall. Also very good at following in a Vi-dive. So if Way's like, we're winning top lane over here, Ming just kind of shows up, they get a 3-1 out of nowhere. Lillia is the Fiora answer. Lillia is so good in a lot of these melee matchups. Now, Fiora does have some innate dashes. Like, you know, if you're like walking at people, it really sucks against Lillia, but Fiora does have some agency here. But Lillia, I'm a huge fan of. They've got a lot of match damage as comp. I mean, Lillia and Zach both run Demonic probably in this game. Pretty good CC, pretty good AoE. If Saigon Buffalo get ahead, this comp is very good.
Yeah, I love the creativity. I also love the conversation that happened on Twitter after last game where everyone's like, man, jungle is so weak. Like, let's Elyoya deserve better than that. I mean, Saigon Buffalo just decided to play 3 junglers. It's just 2 of them have now decided to go in the solo lane. So maybe that confirms jungle is weak, that you're just playing jungle champions in lanes so you can get farm. But I love it. Double melee with Lee Sin. Let's have some skirmishes happen. This is going to be a very scrappy game. There's a higher potential for front-to-back team fighting from Saigon Buffalo than there is from RNG. I think RNG is just going to be throwing themselves all over the place, and they're going to try and win this one fast.
All right, so Lillia Fiora, not a matchup we see really commonly in pro play.
Don't say.
Yeah, you know, surprisingly, you don't see it commonly. Looking at a bunch of solo queue data, which obviously, of course, can always be suspect. Fiora seems to win really early skirmishes, but will tend to lose priority over the lane. So, you know, by around level 6, Lillia's gonna have enough move speed, enough levels that she's not gonna get bursted out, not gonna lose the grasp trades anymore, and gets to just have perma-prio, get things like Rift Herald, and move on from there. That's the expectation.
Yeah.
Obviously, player skill matters a lot.
Yeah, and if you didn't watch much LPL, you'd think that, like, oh my goodness, this Psycho is blind picking Fiora top. That was really common in the LPL.
Yeah.
That's just what happens. It's a different type of lane in that league.
All right, well, we are on to the Rift. RNG can secure second spot in the group. It would guarantee exactly third for Mad Lions. It would mean that Mad and Saigon Buffalo would play a best of 5 for elimination tomorrow. Winner would play second from Group A the day afterwards. RNG would wait for 2 days to play the third, fourth winner from Group A. Or Saigon Buffalo wins, through a tie for second. Mad Lions joins the whole squad. They play each other to figure out who's 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, would definitely be a continuation of our every game counts mantra.
Every game counts.
Of our casting set. Also, shout out to, I believe, Molecule on Twitter, who told us that we cast together in 2019.
Yeah.
Which I'd forgotten about somehow.
Yeah.
But it is true, because he showed me the screenshot.
We also cast together MSI in the group stage. I forget the Twitter handle, but thank you as well. I liked your tweet, so best, and the shout out. So we have cast together 3 years ago internationally, but we are here indeed. So on we go. Ming wants to spot the fact that, they are starting on the bot side. BeanJ has done blue buff. There's no gameplay here whatsoever, but it's guaranteed information. You obviously can't, sweep the walk forward, so RNG guaranteed know where Lee Sin is starting, and they know, okay, likely 3-camp topside, at least a possible 3-camp topside, and Breathe has to play around with that information. Has run Ghost, by the way. I think it actually makes a lot of sense against Lillia, where move speed differential is such an important part of the matchup. Froggy takes pretty heavy trades, and we'll see how much he can trade his health bar for Xiaohu's mana. Worth pointing out that Zach's spells cost percent current health, but the healing of percent max health. So the lower he gets, the cheaper his spells are, and the more he functionally heals the result.
Yeah, definitely something that is very important when you're jungling too. If you don't think you're getting invaded, it's important to use your health potions later, because you want your health to get low early so that your blobs heal you for effectively more. Then use your health potion before you gank. But that's irrelevant for the mid lane Zach.
It's also worth doing, when I actually saw this from BeanJ as well, you also don't want to heal points before Gromp, because Gromp's heal is raised based on missing health. And so he didn't chug a potion until he started Wolves to get the biggest Gromp heal possible. So another optimization for any junglers out there. If you're not going to lose your Gromp, heal afterwards.
I want to see how aggressive the Shen lane gets with Ming and Gala, because we definitely don't see that combo that often. It's definitely because Gala got heavily banned out, but it'll be whether or not kind of the player skill overcomes the bans. But if they have a third player...
flash, that was beautiful! Shogun is gonna die! First blood, literally perfect from Ming as the buy comes over as well, and Gala is 400 gold richer.
That was so good.
That was literally perfect.
Yeah, and also perfect timing with Wei arriving. They're going to be able to at least push him off the minions, definitely chunk him back to base.
Second jump. Doesn't want to go for it, doesn't want to be stunned potentially near the turret, but does reset rocket jump if you land the 4th shot on the auto, and there is no XP being gained. This bot lane is already absurdly over. Tristana is an early game snowball champion. Smites for health. No. It's not even close.
Wait.
Doubles handed over. Xiaohu's winning mid lane. They're winning the jungle. They're winning bot lane. Who cares about Fiora Lillia? This game is doomed.
He just solo killed them at Crab?
Yeah.
What is happening? That just, to me, that just shouldn't happen, but it did. So everything is going the way of RNG to move on as the 2nd seed in this group.
Well, time to buy and get your money. Gets a recall stop as well from Breathe with the wave in. Yeah, actually a pretty good spot for him, it looks like. It is going to, I believe, push still slowly towards Hasmed, but still going to lose some farm along the way. You? Nah, not. Gets the health, but
there's the very small buffer on the very end of your...
Yeah, last quarter second, 8th of a second, something like that. Damage itself will not break a recall. Ani goes towards Frozen Heart Rush.
Yeah, so BeanJ comes through at very low health. His mind is telling him no.
He's like, Zach, come on, bud. So Zach at no point actually had, really leaves the wave. It wouldn't have changed much. BeanJ does go too aggressively, but
yeah. If
Froggy dropped 2 CS, he can at least safeguard out.
Yeah, true. If Froggy was able to arrive, then maybe they have a chance, but that's just very ill-advised. I think he sees the play, he knows that Vi's on the bottom side, so he thinks that Xiaohu's just going to back away in a 1v2, but Xiaohu knows his burst and sees how low BeanJ is. It's also probably, BeanJ might not have realized how low his health was. Because you're so used to just winning a 2v1 and having the mid laner run away.
Yeah, sure.
I can understand why he'd go for it, but just very ill-advised.
Shadowing mid side right now, wants to find the engagement. Xiaohu will get a double knock. He actually burns his own flash because he was afraid of what the engage could be. Was right to do so because the 3v2 goes in though, but everyone's here. Taunt might mean nothing. They're gonna get him back. Taki sadly grabs double buffs, but Wei goes back in. Thankfully for him, there's no cooldowns back up, but there's no way you win these fights anymore. Gala coming around. This one with Zerkryu's not a bad set of damage. Will collect the wave. Here's the engage. Red buff means a bit of a slow rocket jump back to safety while still being in range for the rest. They're going to brawl. A flash out for Taki doesn't matter. Damage for Froggy doesn't matter either. His ulti means nothing. And RNG get one back.
Double buffs eventually find their way on to Gala's Tristana. It felt like a very ineffective roam until the fight just decided to continue. Oh man, I think this is probably a good time to bring up a conversation I had with Emily, who watches probably more LPL than anyone else on the LCS broadcast. But there's this kind of discussion that has gone around for years about, like, what are you fighting for?
Yeah.
Right? Because traditionally in League of Legends, it's like fights need to have a purpose. Like, oh, we're fighting to gain control of bot lane so that we can take Dragon. Or we're fighting so that we can eventually get this turret. But in LPL, like, a lot of times the mindset is just different. I think this is true of the VCS too. Like, no, you're fighting because you think you can win the fight.
Yeah.
Like, the fight is a purpose in itself, and that tweak is like a slightly different way of looking at League of Legends. And if you do it for long enough, you just get so used to fighting, you do see angles that other regions do not. And not that this is an example of pristine League of Legends, like those were really ugly fights, but the mindset that gets you there is just, yeah, you take the fight because you think you can win the fight. It doesn't need to give you bot prio or top prio or rift prio.
Right, I mean, that just feels like, hey, why do you gank? Because 400 gold is good, right? Like, because killing a champion is, you don't farm and I do. So like, yeah of course, right? And you know, we see this all the time. So yeah, the jungler's shadowing mid, like, make sure the wave goes in, because if they gank me, I'm dead. But if my jungler's here, we win the 2-on-2. And like, just extend that to the entire game where it's like, I kill cannons because I like 90 gold. I kill champions because I like 400 gold.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. I mean, it's fun.
Yeah, like, why'd you do that? Because I thought I could kill him.
Yeah, because
it doesn't
killing
have
a champion is good. Like, yeah, that can be its own goal. I like it. Well, we get a fun one here. 1,500 gold lead, though, as we crest 8 minutes into the game. Early Ocean Drake as well. I know, casting with Dagda a couple days ago, he's like, yeah, in the LPL, we always feel like a dragon for 10 minutes. Like, we're getting 23-minute souls constantly. Like, yeah, RNG with control. Find a time to grab the first Drake of the game, moving towards the second.
Yeah, and Xiaohu continues the action in the mid lane. I think it's expected that BeanJ plays a lot around mid lane just because Zach is there, but really, Xiaohu's kept the wave in a really safe spot to make it difficult for a Zach Lee Sin to come and gank, and then when they show in mid lane like that, it just enables Wei to be able to take this Rift Herald thanks to the move of Ming's Shen.
Now, bot wave is under the tower, and it looks like Gala going to be dropping a bit of farm as he's back from his recall. Has Noon Quiver, the power spike every AD carry loves. Zerk Greaves Noon Quiver, definitely solid for early on to the game. But an attempted play, one auto shorter getting the fourth pop, but regardless, looks like he didn't want to take a heavy trade from Shogun, and he just takes a health lead. Ulti will easily come back up in time for the next dragon play, even a cleanse would at this point. So no danger there, just going to get his farm into the tower. Not a danger in the world here for the now 76 CS AD carry.
1.7k. I believe Gala is off to the races.
Oh yeah.
He will definitely get Mythic. Well, he won't definitely get Mythic first because he has Berserker's Greaves and it looks like Shogun has skipped boots. So he's at least going to keep combat power relatively close. But it's going to make him a lot more mobile.
Breathe catches the wave in time. We are seeing the move towards Frozen Heart still, of course, for Hasmed. Does have quite a few auto attackers. Even Sylas, honestly, cares about his attack speed. Getting his passive off, definitely a little bit relevant. But Hasmed trying to get into the spot where, like, okay, once I'm no longer in danger from the Fiora all-ins, then I can start making the kiting really annoying. We can get towards Demonic and feel pretty good about it. So they're kind of waiting for that scaling to happen, but they're just trading farm in the meantime as the game goes a bit poorly for Saigon Buffalo around them. Yeah, on their own little island, and things are on fire on one side.
Yeah, just holding Rift Herald a little bit longer for Wei, trying to find the right window for taking it down. Be curious to see how they use it. I think generally speaking, when you're Vi, because your gank is so lethal, you're hoping to be able to get a kill before you drop Rift Herald, because then that'll likely give you 4 or 5 plates rather than just dropping it mid lane for 2 plates. Here's that mid lane gank though.
Looking to find the, they're gonna get sleep as well. So here comes Shen, they buy some more time. Is gonna be good enough? There's a question, kicking him back. They get the kill, and it's a delivery. Ming gets a very good taunt, holds his flash as well. He's always gonna be safe. Wei coming around, so nicely done to get the Shen ulti out. I thought we were gonna see a top dive with Ming riding in on Wei, killing the Lillia, and then cracking an entire tower for Fiora, but that's all preempted. Ming now on a 3-minute cooldown. Great gank on mid.
Yeah, the Lillia is just not there, and that's like the type of gank you dream about when you're Lillia. Like, yeah, what if I just run down mid and just like randomly throw an E out? That helps you get a kill.
Get a sleep out of it too.
But it was perfect in it. I think bought them enough time to get the damage down onto Xiaohu, and and get the kill. Keeps him in this game.
Oh, little danger. Does have his own passive, but if there's enough follow through, yeah, he's like, if I get Bloblets there, TP not even available at the point in time. Gala will take an ulti. Gonna be fine. Still has cleanse.
For the slow. Yep. Can still detonate if he wants to, but just gonna save the mana. Okay, Froggy.
Turret damage. Froggy coming in. Does not have his own ulti. A flashback. The Vial. Huge damage. Is it enough to kill BeanJ? Needs to get out. 300 HP left on him. Will stay alive. They need to block the abscond abduct. He might burn. Oh, he barely survives it. Plate still crash. 3 in the mid.
I mean, technically defended. Very low health Zach. That's the type of defense you can go for when you do have your passive up because the turret will protect you. BeanJ almost dies in the process, but overall, I think an adequate defense. And a pretty good Herald drop by RNG as well. I think if you're not going to get a full turret, dropping it mid is the correct choice.
Sure, and enough pressure on bot lane, they couldn't go for Tristana apparently. So, okay, is what it is. But bot lane still being pushed in. Shogun is farming pretty well. Top 3 at Worlds so far in CS per minute on average across all games. So has been very good at farm, has been very good at trying to be the late game carry, and of course, still in the running for second out of the group. A very, very strong player for sure. As Divine Thunder has now come through for the first 2 of RNG. On the top side.
Yeah, also worth pointing out, not that he's going to break the record in this game, but Shogun currently has most kills in a single game at Worlds. When he played Isurus, he had 16 kills on his Aphelios in that game.
Seems good.
That's going to be hard to beat, I think, for the rest of Worlds. That one might stand throughout the whole tournament.
Xiaohu, make sure he gets rid of the wards inside the lane. That is one thing I pretty much only ever see in really high MMR and Pro is warding inside the lane to track the possible roams. Obviously, anyone with really good wave clear just like takes the wave out of mid and then like walks bot or something, and you can actually see them do that instead. So important to keep that vision. But he's got Sweeper. He's like, no, I can now roam if I want to, and indeed walk towards the bottom side. Doesn't do a whole lot there, but has the possibility.
Yeah, second dragon up on the rift at the moment as well. You can see everyone in RNG really setting up around that quite well. Good control of vision in both the top and the bot river. Gala keeping the bot lane completely shoved. Jungle and support staying grouped up together to clear vision. All of this very sound, textbook, practiced, and they look to be able to take this dragon uncontested.
Looking solid right now as they stack up the second Drake. And yeah, as you mentioned, uncontested because yeah, nobody's really around. Taki going to fight for some wards, and everyone knows the timer here, but the power differential is just simply too high. Xiaohu's already in mid, has the Lee Synergy just in case. There's the Drake going down. Everyone just jumps over the walls, gets right back out, and RNG have put the notice on that, hey, by the way, in 24 minutes, we're going to be a Hextech Soul. Find a way to fuzz before then, otherwise it's going to be out of grasp.
Yeah, Hextech Soul.
Yeah.
That's my pick.
Yeah, I went Cloud. Sadly, it's tied for 3rd, I think, so unlucky there. Fighting the top side, though, could look half decent. Still putting a couple of shots back and forth. Diving in for quite a few vitals, but and yeah, I mean, that's the big thing, right, is you get the Divine Thunder pop, that's a huge health differential. Sometimes you get a vital there as well. Grasp all feels good, and able to just kind of drain tank back up, even though Oblivion Orb is in. I'm sure it's cut some healing. Breeze is just way more damage per chunk.
Yeah, such an interesting matchup, actually, in top lane. So much about just your auto attack range and, like, unironically auto spacing to get your auto in, dodge the Lillia Q, get back in for another one. Breeze just kind of putting on a clinic there, gets a plate for his trouble, and or rather gets a demolish proc for his trouble and takes that turret even lower.
Yeah, and in the matchup, he's really not shy about using riposte aggressively in every single trade. It's like, I'll just block the first Q, and then if you want to come back in for W, I'll just ult and fight you, and it's going to be no problem. But able to, get a huge health differential on those fights. Information known, they know where BeanJ is. Huge damage available. Ult's coming across. They're going to try to burst him. Shields up, buys a bit of time, but the stun's not going to matter. They will knock down the Lee Sin, and an escape is coming through. But the rest of the team still coming across. Ult, pretty good damage there. Will they get the pop? Yes, Shogun gets the kill on the way, and they're still coming in for more with the Hex Gates. Taki gets a bit low, stays alive, and it's a double kill for Shogun. Over the wall, he's drowsy. This will be a guaranteed triple kill, and it's going really good now. Only 1,400 gold separates. The crucial part is 1,000 of that all went onto the AD carry.
16 kills against Isurus, 3 so far against RNG. Arguably the RNG kills are maybe more valuable if we're doing conversions, but at the moment, that's exactly what they needed. They do give over the mid turret to Tristana during this whole fight, but the discussion we had earlier about why do you fight this could be asked right here for RNG. Ultimately, they fight this because they think they can win. But at the time, no one on their team was near, and it was a 2v3. They think they're just gonna win it though. But then when Xiaohu comes over, they still think they're going to be able to win it. Can't see the minimap in this replay, but you can notice Tristana not there whatsoever. And red, white, don't fight is the saying when you're up against an Aphelios. Not heated here by RNG. He stacks up so many white chakrams and kills them all.
And they just swapped dual lane top functionally, right? Like Aphelios was just laning top lane at that point to play around that side of the map. It was like, wonderful, a team fight's erupting around me. And they get a decent shot at the game now. 2,000 gold difference, though, still pretty big, right? It's 2-0 on Drakes and 2K gold. This is a lead for RNG in this game. But yeah, signs of life for the Gale Force Aphelios. Still down most with Phantom Dancer against Gala, who, during the replay, mostly solo killed the bot lane turret. Herald was claimed by Froggy, so he's got something there, going for the Sunfire Demonic Kid in the previous game. Very common AP Bruiser build is indeed on this one again. So we will probably see Saigon Buffalo get their own second turret before too long. But Gala is still gigantic.
Yeah, at least checking the gold between the two of them, it's now within 600. So even after Shogun went up to get those 3 kills, he's still down 600 gold just because of how many plates and how much solo gold Gala was able to acquire. Still looking at him to solo carry this game. However, I will say, like, the front-to-back protection for Shogun's Aphelios is really high. Unless RNG gets a really good flank, the peel that Zach or like a Frozen Heart Lillia, those 3 bruisers that Saigon Buffalo have can create some pretty strong front lines or fight lines for Shogun to succeed. So kind of a dark horse for an upset here. Wouldn't have thought that after watching the first 2 minutes of the game when Gala got an immediate kill and Xiaohu solo killed BeanJ to get double buffs, but they've done a really good job to not let this game get out of control and stay in it.
Definitely impressive. I'm going to keep on scaling. The Frozen Heart, of course, is in on the way towards his Leandry's build at this point. Nothing else going to do with the Sapphire Crystal realistically, so is going for burn stacking, but not going to be buying any health for a while here on the Lillia. Gore Drinker is in, Steel Cap's in, and we are seeing the 3-item spike build come through for Aphelios. Lord Dominic's always a bit of a sidestep for a while. It is a bit of a power trough unless you're against immediate armor stackers, but not that much right now, but it'll give him the biggest 3-item team fight when that happens. But of course, we are far from this. We're at 3rd Drake coming up in 15 seconds.
Yeah, and I really think the Kraken Slayer Phantom Dancer spike for Tristana is huge. Like, just the synergy of the attack speed from the Phantom Dancer with the Kraken Slayer passive, and the fact that at this point in the game, you're getting many points in your rapid fire. Like, it's giving him 95% attack speed. When he activates it, you just shred people at this point in the game with Tristana.
There is literally not a better single target DPS build than Kraken PD. It is actually the #1 build possible on Marksman, so Gala very much strong, and you're on a power trough here with Last Whipper before you're against any aftershocks, any armor stacking. But they do on the river for now. Is there a play? It's the question. 11,000 health on Drake. You can't sneak this.
Yeah, and it's so hard for Saigon Buffalo to start this when they don't have bot pile. So look where Fiora is. Breathe has pushed that wave completely up. So basically, if Saigon Buffalo try to approach, their retreat is going to be cut off. Trying to do Drake without mid or bot cryo is generally suicide, but that's kind of what they're going to have to do if they want to take it. They'd have to fight their way out of this one. And they may end up just conceding it because they don't have a way of protecting themselves if they do start it.
Wave finally reaches the tower, and they say, okay, time to earn that one, so Hasmed going to go over. Should claim the cannon, no problem. Shogun gets some wolves. They want to walk back down. A couple of the wards go away, but now mid is pushed in. Gala going to go ahead and cheat up on that wave, and now it's a mid lane being collapsed in. So Shogun walks over, gets that one here as well. At least they are funneling gold towards the right person. It is always Aphelios taking the safe route, getting the money. Froggy wants to help, shares the XP. But now look at who owns the river. RNG play the patient game long enough that everyone from Saigon Buffalo is stuck back in their base, and this dragon is now uncontestable. Yeah,
just decide to fight the soul, I think. It is ultimately a fairly smart call. We talked about the power spike that Gala's Tristana was on. We could see that Shogun actually hadn't even completed his Lord Dominic's regards, let alone has the 3-item power spike that he will ultimately need. So I think it would have been possibly a game-losing fight. If they get 8th there, then they also lose Baron, and they're down 5,000 gold, whereas now they can hopefully kind of freeze this gold lead around 2,500 and then contest the soul.
So a fun rule of thumb is that for high-level play, 400 gold per minute is a good, solid average for farming rolls. So in 5 minutes, you're going to earn 2,000 gold each, which means if your next item spike is 3,000 gold out, unless you are giga-funneled farm, you are not hitting the item spike. And right now, we got to play towards the top side. Not going to happen for much. Easy jump over the wall, keeps him safe, no Leona lands, but it means that Shogun, by all rights, shouldn't finish IE in time unless he is, again, being given a second lane of farm, or there's a fight early that breaks out and he gets triple kill.
He'd basically need 3 or 4 kills to get IE, so he's not going to have the, quote, spike that he needs. The hope, I think, would be that they can at least get Mythic completed for Hasmed and get everyone on 2 items. That would be their best chance. And then I don't think Gala is going to get to 3 items by then anyway. Also want to give a quick update on just the state of this group for those of you that might have been joining us at the start of this game. So DRX has won the group.
5-0.
Yeah, if RNG wins this game, then there are no tiebreakers. RNG is 2nd in the group. Mad Lions is 3rd in the group. Saigon Buffalo is 4th in the group. That's very simple. When Saigon Buffalo wins, if it happens, it does create a 3-way tiebreaker, and that's when the win time would actually matter. So if Saigon could win faster than 32-36, they'd actually have the top seed in the 3-way tiebreaker, with RNG having to play Mad in the 3-4 game first. But if they're below like 35 minutes, about 34 minutes, 49 seconds, they would have a much lower seed in that tiebreaker. So not super likely that they come back. They're definitely not thinking about, guys, make sure we win fast, but just for the fans at home, if they want to track, assuming Saigon could pull off some type of miracle fight at this next Hextech Drake.
Then start coming back, we'll start talking about who's going to get side selection and whatnot, because, yeah, you drop from being, like, the number 2 team, the number 3, the number 4, it's where you are in the bracket, who gets side selection, and all that can be spelled out if they start getting to winning position. I like your rundown on the same, though.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah. As we knock down this, 2,500. As you mentioned, remains relatively flat. The difference here. Last Whisper is in for Gala, taking a slightly cheaper stab at a 3rd item. Cheaper than Infinity Edge by 400 gold.
This will definitely help him kill Lillia. I think it's pretty common, I'm seeing, actually, the armor pen item built before IE, but time to fight!
All right, ulti comes in, Gale's Force towards the tower, stun's going to land, flash the safety to kick back, and just deletes one. Taki has to burn a stopwatch because he was in danger. Q lands on a Gala, without kick, you can't get much more. Now, kill was given to Shogun, so 300 gold comes in, making that play that little bit easier as they trade aggressively up on the top side. Froggy, though, as long as he can get to his blobs, maybe he can't. The ulti comes in, and he's got enough to pick up that he'll stay alive, but the health bar is low. He wants to ditch out. Yeah,
burns his ultimate as well. It'll likely mean the turret goes over for Xiaohu, and that gold lead will increase. They're just going to keep going, even though they lost the last one.
Good hasn't come into range, but this means blue buffs to be handed over. More gold stolen away. The gold may in fact grow. Froggy actually onto a Thornmail 2nd item, so not going for AP stacking, not going demonic, but actually wants to be a bigger front line, cutting the healing. If he lands this down, it's 40% Grievous onto Sylas, onto these double Divine Sunders here as well.
Yeah. Also, you can see the stopwatch for Shogun. I don't hate it. He was never going to make IE anyway, so he's just hoping to have some clutch miracle moment to win this Hextech Drake fight. I think in their minds, if they lose this soul, the game is probably over. So 1 minute now is about as late as anyone would want to recall. You can see RNG moving back out onto the map. 3 items completed by Tristana, so Gala will be the powerful point that they play around. And they're going to try and get as many lanes pushing as possible so they can get great setup onto the Drake.
And crucially, with Flash down, I think Shogun feels completely unsafe against Vi ulti, and it's like, I actually need this or I'm always dead to the combo. Shen flies over the top, Fiora says hello. Xiaohu ults me with my own supports R button. Yeah, okay. Probably need a stopwatch for those. I think rightly so. 30 seconds till Drake. If you're trying to do like YOLO Rush Baron, this is exactly your timer. You get just enough time to finish this off and somehow hope they don't check for you, but mid is going to be pushed in first by Saigon Buffalo. They're not going to greed for mid turret. The gold couldn't even be spent if they got it. And ultimately Gala just safe with his double buffs.
It is
just fine there, but Breathe knocks down bot
too.
It
is just so impossible right now for Saigon Buffalo to win either side lane matchup.
See, it's a slow, but he's able to jump back, so not bad there. It's going to be a small timer until Xiaohu can get another ulti picked up. I think it might have been timing out, needed to burn it no matter what, but can't get a new one yet.
Yeah, I think Saigon Buffalo's best chance here is just try and brute force their way through mid, get that wave, move into river, and then just YOLO flip the Drake. It's so bad already with where Breathe is, killing the inhibitor turret, but I think Saigon just needs to start it.
Go.
Literally sacrifice the inhibitor, just try and take this dragon and hope they don't get it. They are in a tough spot.
The goal is just go. Is your smite better than Waze? Because the fight has got to start. Red, blue, guns for Shogun, solid AoE. There's red, white. There's red, white. Are they going to get into range? Is there going to be a fight? The smite's going to be claimed. Inhibitor will go down. They choose to say, you know what, screw it. You had the Drake. We get inhibitor for not getting soul yet. But the effort we put in early on forced you to the side of the map. And by the way, there's still a Baron angle.
Yeah.
There's still a Baron angle. They're running across mid and saying, okay, you got to contest this one now.
Yeah, and I really love what Breathe did there, knowing that if they do try and kill him, they just get Baron. They have to check this. Look out!
Gets ulted, gets locked up, doesn't have a single way to live, and immediately there's no jungler. Immediately there's going to be no mid laner. Chunklow not quite dead. 5-man sleep.
5-man!
Good enough. Riposte in. Huge time bot, but they're diving. They've already got Vi. How about the rest, though? Can they kill Fiora? Yes, they can. The front line holds up. A stopwatch buys time. Xiaohu flashed to safety, barely. And all they're going to get is Froggy's passive. Even that. A beautiful bait by RNG, but turned around stronger by Saigon Buffalo.
Saigon Buffalo know how to fight.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the setup's not pretty, but the 5-man sleep was a 4-man sleep because Breathe threw the riposte on it, but he marked all 5. It completely turns the fight around. Shogun buys enough time with his stopwatch. They stop the dragon, completely worth the inhibitor sacrifice to buy themselves more time in this game. And using your 400 gold per minute benchmark, Freak, there's now 1,600 gold on Shogun, so he will have IE by the time the next fight happens. Watching this one more time, Violet goes down to kill the jungler, but Shogun gets so many chakrams from that ultimate. Looks like he's got about 12 right at the very start of this fight. And then Hasmed
Flash QR
with the clutch flash QR. And then I believe Taki flashes to chain the stun onto Wei and allows them to take the back end of the fight.
At that point, the damage is there. Yeah, Xiaohu does what he can. W than Zonia's, but even though Gala is getting as much damage as he can from over the wall and actually nearly gets Froggy with it. I mean, if that last attack was a crit that's passive down, does it change anything? I don't know, but you do get the Zac passive if he rolled a little bit better on the dice.
Oh,
falling.
Super interesting. Shogun actually sells his broken stopwatch to pick up the IE right now and get that earlier power spike. Kind of necessary, I guess, since they are threatening to lose their inhib, and it looks like RNG's not going to give them a chance to catch their breath. They're constantly going to be pressuring to end the game with Fiora while kind of daring around the Baron area. Very tricky situation for Saigon to get out of. Again, when you don't have a champion that can actually match Fiora or Sylas in side lanes, they have to kind of hope to win a team fight.
Warmogs, Anathemas, maybe something else like a Ryle's or a Demonic coming in next for Zac. He's been able to hold frontline pretty well, right? Hasn't been in too much danger. At a certain point, you also just can't tank like Tristana. AD carries outscale tank items. It's just like by default. So at a certain point, you're like, might as well try to kill Sylas faster. Way back over the wall, gonna stay safe, no problem. Not too hard for a Vi with Flash to dodge pretty much any CC. You're 2 minutes away, though, from Hextech Soul, and last time, that gave RNG an entire inhibitor. But those timers are kind of synced up, and bot side is already where Saigon Buffalo is playing toward because they want Drake control, and they're taking down the inhibitor farm. So not a ton of pressure ultimately gained by RNG. Now Breathe is still playing for the wave, so they're not really losing farm from it. Breathe still gets the wave, and someone else gets the wave, and they just kind of trade back and forth. And now, the way, Xiaohu walking up, information known.
He might go.
Shogun has Flash, but no longer is able to get a stopwatch this game.
Yeah, the longer the game stays in this state where, like, even though they're not losing anything yet, they're kind of constantly at risk, Saigon Buffalo, because they have so much less vision, and this could happen.
Passive's down already. This is, I think he might just be dead. They don't have Lillia TP. They can't force him to revive, but Breathe knows he can be collapsed upon and decides that he should let Froggy get up after all. Ulti down for Breathe.
Yeah, and
Ghost used as well.
9 seconds on the TP for Lillia. TP up for Zac. Oh, it could be a flip.
It's fully on vision, though.
Yeah.
TP is burned. So that is a 4-minute cooldown forced out of Froggy. With cooldown boots, it's shorter than that. It's 3 and change, though still decent amount of time has been gleaned with that one. We'll see if Lillia can actually play the bot lane, but the resets come in. T-minus 45 seconds. Drake is coming up, and guess what?
Yeah.
It's again the chance to exit soul for RNG.
Yeah, this time Infinity Edge is completed, and this super minion that Lillia is currently clearing, that is the last super minion wave. So even though the inhib isn't back up yet, they have stopped spawning. So there won't be the super minion threat, but it's going to be exactly the same situation. Saigon Buffalo doesn't have pressure in any of their side lanes. They have to brute force their way into River by grouping up in a lane, and that's going to buy time for someone to set up a split push. Let's see how RNG plays it, because they have Fiora in a completely different spot at the moment. They might be trying to open up the other inhibitor this time.
I mean, this is the right way to use split pusher, right?
Then they just have to give away the Drake. He's not in position to do this. This is bad by RNG. Yeah, this is. They're going to try and get Baron, but
they're not even there. Like, Vi is behind the Dragon Pit. If they were trying to, trade for Baron,
I think
he should have already been there.
catch it. I think they can force a fight here.
Well, we'll see. Timer's going down as fast as they can. Gala definitely very lethal. 6,000 health on Baron. 5,000, 4,000, 3,000, 2,000. Baron claimed. RNG cross maps the required Drake answer.
Again, this is one of those like acceptable trades for Saigon Buffalo, even if they get it. I didn't have my eye completely on him. I'm not sure if they had to hesitate to walk in since RNG had laid that trap earlier. They weren't sure if it was a Baron rush or not. But it's just, again, about kind of buying time. They themselves now have 2 Hextech stacks, so extra haste, extra attack speed to improve their teamfight power, and just need to withstand this split push moment while Baron is alive for RNG.
We'll see if Shogun gets himself towards Bloodthirster or a Guardian Angel. I think both can make some sense in this context, but in a lot of cases, I feel like with AD carry, if your GA is popped, they just kill you on respawn. But if your team is threatening enough, sometimes you just need those 4 seconds, and it's actually going to work for you. We'll have to see which one he decides he wants. You can always rebuy his stopwatch.
Yeah.
It'll be broken, but it'll start into a GA. 8-5. 6,000 gold difference, though, right? Baron has grown that gold lead.
And a death cap completed by Xiaohu Sylas. We know from last game when Zeka got his death cap on Sylas. That's a pretty big power spike. Also looking at the game clock approaching 32 minutes. If this game gets to 32 minutes and 38 seconds, even if RNG loses, they would still be top seed in the tiebreaker. So they have held on for long enough to at least improve their standings, but they're likely looking to just win this game and get second seed.
Flash in onto BeanJ, and again, he is deleted in the exact same spot he died last time. Mid's gonna fall. Vino ulti means nothing too threatening anymore, but Leona ulti now stolen away by Sylas. Top already pushed in here by the Vi.
Oh, this is big. They might get all 3 inhibitors here, or just the game.
Already diving in for this one with the team split up a little bit. They get a stopwatch out of Xiaohu, but that is it. Froggy, of course, no passive. Gonna be quite low, has to get to the fountain, and he gets just destroyed. Aphelios is gone, Taki is gone. This fight is over, this game is over. RNG will claim the second seed. They will shut Saigon Buffalo down. And it means we know how Group B ends. RNG is the final boss of Group B. They are the second seed. Mad Lions will face Saigon Buffalo tomorrow for the tournament live.
Definitely took a little bit of finishing as RNG had a massive early lead, still wins this one in 33 minutes, means they are the second seed from Group B. They will eventually play the number 3 seed or the winner of the 3-4 match from Group A in order to advance to the main stage of groups. But overall, I think this was a pretty solid game by RNG. Gala farmed up a storm. It actually hit 6 items by the time that final fight was over. And RNG is going to be pretty happy about that.
Sure. Second spot, they still do have to play a best of 5, as you mentioned. It's going to be a cross against Group A.
Yeah.
There are more games today. Group B has no tiebreakers. It went clean 5-0 to 0-5, but Group A, we've got that 3-way tie. Fnatic aced the group. Congratulations, they're number 1.
Yeah.
But Loud, Detonation Focus Me, and Evil Geniuses are battling for 2, 3, 4, and that's going to be coming up next, right? Those are going to be 2 games to decide who faces RNG, or like faces each other to then face RNG, or takes it to the second spot and faces that Mad Lions Saigon Buffalo winner.
Yeah, exactly. And as you just mentioned, tomorrow, Saigon Buffalo will play a best of 5 against Mad Lions. Saigon now the 4th seed from this group, Mad Lions the 3rd seed, so they will play a best of 5 to see who cross plays. It's all coming together. Group B is solved in terms of the round robin, and now we just have to finish solving Group A.
If you pick DRX, pick'ems are safe. That's the big thing to talk about on that one.
I did not.
You did not. I also picked RNG.
Missed both groups.
I also missed both groups.
Yeah.
I got the Fnatic subs, like, oh, you know, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll put EG back in. And then I was like, oh, never mind. It still got ruined. So we're going to hand it over to Safe Farm Analyst Nets to break that one down. See you there.
Thank you so much, Freak and Jack. Welcome back to Safe Farm Analyst Desk. I'm QuickShot, joined by Chronicler and Rez. Let's start by talking about the picks and bans. Saigon Buffalo once again pulling out that Zach mid. Chronicler, I'm going to come to you. The drafts on screen behind you. Lillia, Zach, we saw it again. I think it put a better fight than I was expecting.
It did. I think with the composition that RNG went for, as we saw, you're going to be looking to mostly 1-3-1. You have not only 2 great side laners, but a Shen to kind of accommodate it as well. Whereas SGB went for a much more team fight-oriented comp. And especially in the early to mid game, I think we saw the power of not only their team fights, but also how much faith they have in specifically Shogun. And he delivered.
Yeah, he had a great game. And I think that from the side of RNG, we get to see the Shen support That for me was something that I loved seeing from teams in general. We got to see a little bit of it from QuartJJ in North America, and for me the idea is always as simple as you're playing through sides and your support now has access to be able to tilt matchups, right?
Yeah.
So it's something that I think has been very successful in the past, and it's nice to be able to see it because, hey, if you use it properly, especially if you think that the enemy top laner is something that Shen does well into, then you have a strong flex.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game, I really thought it was going to be just a one-sided stomp. I wasn't 100% sure the Buffaloes were going to put up a strong fight. If I could bring a replay up, but I would like to bring it up paused because I just want to set the state of the game. As we went into the team fight you're about to watch, SGB were down about 2k gold. The game felt to me like it was start to run away, but Saigon Buffalo actually win this fight. Rez, talk me through this and what you thought could have happened at this 50-minute mark.
At this point, it felt like every fight was working for RNG.
We can run the clip as well.
Exactly. As we're running it, you can already see the 2v2 heavily in favor towards the Fiora side, even gets the slow attack speed slow reduction. But much like Jat said during the actual game and the replay, they just had a numbers advantage. Specifically, it's Saigon Buffaloes. And Red White Gun, he was able to accumulate so many chakrams that it was impossible for the side of RNG to take it. So for this side, it was like, okay, you take a step back and you're like, well, Tristana's not going to be able to be part of the fight. She's right now in mid lane. So a numbers advantage really works heavily in favor of Saigon Buffaloes. So for me, I, as you would expect, was favoring RNG's side. It looked like they were handing them out and they could disengage. They could not. They wanted to double down on the fight once Sylas joined.
And it's not only a worst case scenario in terms of how the fight plays out, but it's also all the gold goes to Shogun, who has been like the guy for Saigon Buffaloes. And I think it kind of translates. I think with both this draft and the style that RNG played, they were really playing it fast and loose. I think they can play way cleaner games, and they were just like, we can have some fun with this. We can really push our leads. And if it doesn't work out, have faith in our macro to pull it back.
Push us along to the next replay when you're done to the next point as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, a lot of it was based off of my fear of, okay, you have a heavily magic damage side of your composition, but the Aphelios is going to carry you through. Guess what, the Met? Sure, Aphelios is fed, but also Lillia just came out with an incredible sleep, and this would be, of course, our every second counts, thanks to the reliable Cisco network. So as we play this out, just a beautiful team fight played out by the Lillia.
I mean, Rez, how often can you legitimately say you see 5-man sleeps? I mean that. It is not that common now. Admittedly, we're going to see Lillia huge.
Very rare. The last time I saw it, it was a 10-man sleep, and it was caused by TSM. All right, I'm back at World.
It's okay. It's okay, Russ. It's okay. This is a safe space.
I'm seeing it in my eyes right now. But yes, that was beautiful. The follow-up is even better, and those two plays made me believe that Saigon Buffalo could push us into that upset.
There is an argument to be said that the expectations for how DRX and RNG were going to play the game out versus how Mad Lions and Saigon Buffalo put up a fight.
Yes.
Mad Lions and Saigon Buffalo put up a bigger fight than was expected. Ultimately, the result came out the same. I'm not trying to be an apologist or anything along those lines, but Saigon Buffalo in particular, I think looking way scarier than I was expecting. You can see on the post-game breakdown, at 20-25 minutes, yes, that gold lead spiked to 4 or 5K, and then it ran away from the Buffaloes, but ultimately, they put their heads up high. It does mean that the groups are now wrapped up. I want to take a look at the standings in Chronicler. When we take a look at the 1st through 5th, what do you make of this? I think it played out a little different expectations in terms of maybe DRX RNG, but ultimately that's what we were expecting.
Yeah, that's the only one. DRX being more consistent really only sold the DRX that a lot of people, including me, were worried about in the final game against Mad, and even that one they were able to pull through. And for RNG, again, the only game that they lost was against DRX with a pretty big draft disadvantage. Outside of that, Mad Lions being 3rd, Saigon being 4th, I think, was pretty much in line with a lot of the expectations for this group.
And how scary is it going to be for that side of the knockout stage and play-ins in which you're either facing either Saigon Buffalo or Mad Lions? They look really good right now. So the point that you're making, how much of a fight they were putting up against DRX and RNG.
Rez, do you know who's going to be facing them yet? Do you know?
We don't know.
Why is that?
Because there is still a tiebreaker, 2 tiebreakers to be played.
What I wanted to hear. We're heading to a quick break. When we come back, let the tiebreakers begin. It's Evil Geniuses versus Detonation. Focus me. Do not go anywhere. Don't touch that browser.
Good damage there. there. Will they get the pop? Yes, Shogun gets the kill on the way. And this one coming in for more with the Hexgate. Taki gets a bit low, stays alive, and it's a double kill in for Shogun. Over the wall, he's drowsy. This will be a guaranteed triple kill. Gonna be quite low, has to get to the fountain, and he gets just destroyed. Aphelios is gone, Taki is gone. This fight is over. This game is over.
Run me my money. Run me my money. Run me my money. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Big bad money maker, working hard for all this paper. Check my stats, I'm kinda major. Can't nobody do it greater. I can make your body rock. I'm the boss, I call the shots. Doesn't matter what it costs, baby. No, I got it. I'm forever popping like the hot grease in the pan. Gotta make them understand. I don't never need no man. I'm a INDEPENDENT chick. Yeah, you haters think you slick. Got it all, never fall. I'm the one they always call. Spin the stack up at the mall. They say I'm the greatest, y'all. I bring all the flavor, yeah. I bring all the heat. If you ain't trying to get money, baby, you can have a seat, yeah. Run me my money. Yeah, run me my money. 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 Yeah, look, they don't want no smoke cause they know I got the vapor. Keeping all my jewelry on me tighter than a taper. I be on my ballin' tip harder than the Lakers. Do nothing for low, I don't do no favors. Came from the bottom, busting out the bag. I'm the girl you never had, never will and never have. All these suckers know I'm bad, know I'm lit. Make these haters wanna quit. I don't want no things you got, not even a little bit. Face pretty, game tight, make you get some act right. Play me once I catch a flight, money Himalaya height. Got no time to be polite, get these broke men out my sight. If you got the cash, baby, we can leave tonight, aight? Run me my money. Yeah, run me my money. Run me my money.